afternoon, and welcome to Galactic Soul Healing. It's the 27th of March here in Australia. My name is Sonia, and I have been doing Sirian oracles for a while. Reason that title is there is because I believe that my spirit guides are Sirian from Sirius system. And we are today focusing on something that has come up for myself, but as usual I often feel like this is relevant for other people as well. Okay, now things have become very busy with regard to my personal schedule, and I pretty much say with a fair amount of certainty that there are a lot of other people out there that have schedules that are really frantic, like really busy. Okay, now so this reading, I was meditating before I decided what to do. Spirit's kind of guiding me to do it on. It was just this thing that just came through, which they said was just being present and making every day an awesome journey. Okay, there's a few other words here. So what I've got up at the top here is being present and making every day an awesome journey with, for, and into yourself and your connections with others. So it's rather than being stressed about all the stuff you've got to do for the week, it's a bit like saying being present is about learning how to focus on not just the present moment, but perhaps just the next day. Okay, but thinking about it in a new way. Now, obviously the benefits from being able to be present as much as possible is that things like stress becomes reduced. Okay, and fatigue can generally reduce as well, and anxiety can drop off. Now, that's not 100% guarantee. Okay, so the idea is that what we're going to do with the cards today, I'm going to do 3 stacks with these 3 decks. So this is the Animal Dreaming by Scott Alexander King, and Keepers of the Light by Kyle Gray, and Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. So we're going to get some hints and tips on ways in which we can perhaps become present during our day, or it might be at the start of the day. You might there might be some sort of little ritual or a meditation that you do, or at the end of the day as well, obviously preparing for the following day. Now, often these things here, if we can be present, one of the other little benefits is that your frequency can actually increase. Okay, since taking on extra work that I do enjoy and I get a lot of fulfillment from, it's requiring me to do a bit of driving. Okay, and that's one of the things that particularly, it's not that the driving is stressful, it's that having to sit in that position and just deal with being in a vehicle, okay, is not it's not my favourite thing. And then obviously driving around here and there and dealing with traffic, it's a bit ungrounding. Okay, and a lot of people have jobs and perhaps a bit similar to that, or if you are in an executive area where you have a lot of things going on, you know, there's a lot of input, there's a lot of stuff happening. Okay, now some people already have the ability to be present within themselves while all that's going on. Some others of us sort of start to lose our energy because we're dealing so much with stuff externally and it gets really intense. So one thing that I've found that has been really useful is chakra meditations. Now, they're guided, okay? But along with that, there are other things that we can do. For instance, we can start to become more organised, because if you're practically more organised and prepared, okay, it takes away the frantic chaos thing that can happen on the day, okay? So there are lots of other things too that you can do. I'm just going to shuffle and chat at the same time. So obviously there are other things too, like basically when you do have downtime, is taking really good care of yourself. So if you find that your work life is really busy and you're dealing with people a lot, you might need you definitely need some alone time on the weekend. And if you have a family, obviously it's not going to be happening for days and days on end, but you might need to snatch, a couple of hours for yourself if you can, right? Or just going for a nice walk in the mornings out in nature. We have spoken about these types of things before. So being present is also akin to being relaxed, because when we're present within ourselves, it's really that our energetically, our energy is not being given out. We're not scattering our energy out, okay? If we are present, we are aligned energetically, okay, between heaven and earth, but also within our heart chakras. We have a sense of our lower chakras and our upper chakras, and that is being present. But the other little tip is that focusing on the breath, okay, is a really good way to become present, okay. And obviously this is starting to sound like, when you're being present, it's starting to sound like having good mind-body connection, okay, because if your brain is extremely busy and scattered, and you have the awareness to realise that if you go for a walk, so if you activate the physical, that has the effect of calming the mind down, because the endorphins are released, which is the relaxation chemicals, okay, then that that's something you can do for yourself, okay. So exercise and body work is another way that we can become present, and there are many other ways as well. Obviously walking around in nature, and sometimes people do find that even actually speaking to someone like a close friend or a counsellor just enables them to become more present into themselves, particularly if it gives you an opportunity to talk about yourself and how you're feeling, okay, bringing it back into you rather than dealing with other people's issues, okay, because that can start you being anxious about them and stuff like that, okay. That's why people that deal with other people's issues, like counsellors and therapists and people like that, they actually need to have regular sessions with their own therapist or supervisor as well, and they also need to do self-care, which obviously would involve things other than dealing with other people's issues, okay. Now the awesome thing is that we can cultivate the ability to deal with externals whilst being present within ourselves, okay. But if we haven't cultivated those skills of what it means to be present within ourselves, okay, we tend to be a little more dysfunctional in terms of coping with the externals, or being susceptible to stress and anxiety that's that can be caused by all those external demands and stresses, okay. So there is a phase with this. There are phases. Obviously we go through different levels of skill in terms of being present within ourselves. Now I've also mentioned there connections with others, so that can be a little bit like, well, you might like to just observe yourself when you're with others, and at the end of the interaction or whatever, just kind of check in with yourself and just go, now, do I still sort of feel present and okay within myself, or is there something in my energy field now that is kind of not making me feel right, or I feel a bit icky? Like there's probably other words for that, or I feel a little bit out of sorts. Okay, you can observe yourself interacting with others. Now, it's not that we're going to then judge that person and go, oh, they made me feel icky, okay? That's just really an indication that energetically you're picking up on stuff. And so one of the little skills you might have to learn how to do in terms of your being present within yourself is really focusing on your breath and with conscious intent, releasing some of that negative energy that's perhaps surrounded, come into your aura, okay, or your field. Now, let's deal with these, because with the cards, we're going to cut these decks. Okay, so with the decks, when we get visuals, because these cards are very visual, okay, it helps the subconscious to actually process information. So some of what I have been speaking about may become, come through in the cards, and some of it may not, obviously. Yeah, just a quick sip of my decaf/caf. Now, nutrition is another thing too that can actually impact on our ability to be present and our anxiety and fatigue levels, okay? But we won't go into that in detail. Now, I'd just like to call upon Sirian guides and archangels, any other ascended masters and light beings who would like to assist us with the giving of the information of this reading and also the receiving of the information. If something I say does not resonate, please don't take it on. If something does spark your interest and you'd like to look into it, please do, or chat with people about it, or whatever you need to do to process and explore. So let's start with the 3 stacks. And I'm really grateful to my guides. Like, it's been like challenging times recently and big decision making times, and things have had to be weighed up and decisions made that I can't go into detail, so let's just get to these now. So we're going to look at them cards individually and also together in combination, okay? So let's have a look. Here we have Kuthumi, Master Kuthumi. Now he came up previously in a reading, which was kind of awesome. And I believe he is a master who I think he works with the orange yellowy kind of ray, obviously that's the colour there, but sort of to do with possibly the sacral chakra, cloak of wisdom. So it says there, you already know the answer you seek, trust what you know. And that is awesome, because part of being present and making every day a journey with yourself, for yourself and into yourself is actually about really acknowledging your whole soul, okay? Your soul has a lot of wisdom. So in terms of being present and reducing stress, fatigue and anxiety and raising your frequency, your soul already knows what to do. So it can just be a matter of tapping into that, okay? And his Master Kuthumi is reinforcing, encouraging us to tap into our own inner wisdom, okay, with regard to this, and really making it will help us to make the most of our lives as well if we can tap into our inner wisdom, okay. This one says oyster catcher, concealment, which is an interesting thing. Now, concealment is a little bit like when we just spoke about when we are dealing with, if we have a busy life, or workplace or busy family environments and things. Our energy is going out a lot, okay? So concealment is a little bit like saying, okay, we need to sometimes balance that out with coming in to ourselves, perhaps using a breath or guided relaxation, so we can come in and be really present with ourselves. And I tell you what, the breath is almost the number one for that. It's particularly if you can find a quiet place, and you can find perhaps a guided relaxation meditation that you really like. So a voice that you find soothing and relaxing, okay? And you may even like to create your own guided relaxation, record it and play it back for yourself, okay? So concealment. So there's definitely wisdom in concealment because it will help you to realign, okay? Help you to acknowledge yourself. Give yourself the gift of being present, or give yourself the present of being present with yourself, okay? With no one else around. And that is a gift that you can give yourself. It's like just a little solo time that can have a lot of benefits, because you may often find that if you can give yourself some solo time like that, that even when you come out of that, you might go for a quick 20-minute walk or something, you come back, you might actually feel refreshed, and you might even feel almost after the second or third session time of doing it that your stress has dropped. You feel a bit more energized, so your fatigue is less, and you're worrying less about a lot of little things that perhaps you were stressing about before, okay? And obviously when we reduce all of these low frequency states, okay, we are automatically then freer to our frequency rises, okay, and that's what we want as well. Okay, now, cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Okay, so if you feel that you are one of those people that is running the treadmill like the mouse in the cage, okay, and you actually haven't been able to take time to be present for yourself or really have cultivated that skill, okay, that could actually trigger you into feeling like crap. And I apologize for that, but that in itself, believe it or not, is a gift, because it will allow you then to tap into your wisdom, just take some solo time for yourself, and really just start to allow yourself to reduce your stress and your fatigue and your anxiety, because you will benefit from it, believe me. And surrendering to the alchemy of life. Alchemy is the process, describes processes of change. Okay, so ideally we are all shifting up in frequency anyway. Okay, and by being able to make each day, every day, a journey, an awesome journey. Okay, it's really going to help you to make those little changes that you need to make. Okay, and especially if you can cultivate daily or every other day, just a little strategy that you can use to become present. It might be a small thing like, okay, I'm just going to, every morning I'm going to get up, go out in my backyard and just stare at the tree or my plants or whatever, and I'm really just going to be thinking about the wonders of nature and nothing else for a full 5 minutes. I'm not going to have one thought about what I'm supposed to be doing for the day, because if I can just cultivate this thing about just being really present in the moment, if I can start doing that in little ways, I'll be able to do it anywhere, anytime, and that will reduce my stress and my fatigue. Okay, so if you feel a little bit triggered, in other words, this whole idea about being present, still and calm within yourself and focusing inner is upsetting you, it's fine to just go and talk to a counsellor or go and see a therapist, okay, because meditation is another awesome thing. See this here, It's almost like those Buddhist colours, isn't it? I'm not saying you have to go and be a Buddhist, but that is definitely a philosophy that incorporates and integrates meditation on a daily basis. So you might want to look into, just practicing some meditation, which is really the process of learning how to calm the mind and to stop that monkey chatter that goes on, okay? Which can often be along the lines of stressing about stuff, being anxious and then getting really tired because you're so stressed. It's a bit of a vicious circle, that one, okay? They all feed in. So that's interesting, isn't it? Right, so now I'll just show you the picture. Okay, this is really lovely. I'm actually really glad this is in here. Earth connection. This has come up before, and it's about grounding. It's about connecting to the earth energies. Okay, and that's another really good way that you can become present. If you go out, maybe barefoot, put your feet on the earth somewhere, and just really focus on the soles of your feet. Just really focus on that energy connecting. Okay, that's a nice little meditation you can do as well. That grounding meditation. Be mindful of the planet, come back to earth and stay grounded. Okay, so it's about being grounded. Yeah. And the other thing too is that with Tai Chi, for instance, you can stand there and imagine that there's no ball there. If she's standing there with her hands like this, you can literally do a little meditation breathing, where you're breathing in. Just imagine your lungs inflating and you're squeezing the air out. And just do 5 to 10 of those. Just trying to pay attention to your breath, okay? Now, this one we have is, I haven't seen this one for a while, Red Kangaroo, Responsibility. Now, that's interesting because the more present we can be, and the more awesome that we can make each day, and the less stress, fatigue and anxiety we have, the more able we are to maintain our responsibilities and do it with joy, do it with flair, and do it with, hey, I've got this, rather than all of the other negative stuff that goes on, like, fuck, this is too much shit, I can't be bothered doing that, why can't fucking people do this for me, and yada yada yada. Okay, it's about learning how to be present. If you do need to ask people to help you out, it's about being present and kindly asking them, I really appreciate if you do this because A and B is happening today. Okay, there are ways to be present and respond, as opposed to ways of being stressed and in fatigue and anxiety and reacting. Okay, if you're present, you're more likely to give an appropriate response. If you're sitting in high stress fatigue and you're not present, you're anxious about 50 other things going on way back in the past, and maybe you're worrying about the future, okay, you're more likely to give a reactive response, which is usually more dysfunctional and more ineffective in terms of relating, okay, and in terms of cultivating positive connections. So this is why all of these things about being present and making your day awesome, it does feed into the ways in which you connect with others. Okay, so responsibility, we all have a spiritual responsibility, we have practical responsibilities, we have emotional, physical, mental responsibilities, okay? So this thing about being present, it allows us to do all that stuff way better, okay? And that might even be stuff like, it can be about preparation and planning a little bit without getting stressed, okay? And also about not thinking. Overthinking things can cause stress, okay? If you find yourself overthinking, it's a good idea to perhaps Go and do something active. Go do something creative that takes you out of I am having anxiety about what I think I'm going to be doing or what should I be doing. The cosmic heart. Oh wow, this is awesome. Devotion, potency. Make your life a moving prayer. This is like bang on that. Make your every day an awesome journey. It's a little bit like, it's like a moving prayer, and you can make every day an awesome moving prayer. Which is like, basically it's like a spiritual dedication for you to make your day awesome for yourself, with yourself, and into yourself, because you can take the day as like, I'm going to explore an aspect of myself today. You can incorporate that as well. But it's not only about yourself, is it? It's about how you relate to other people, which is about the heart and the unconditional love. Okay? The cosmic heart is really about opening this beautiful heart portal. It's awesome, folks. Oh, we have chills now. Okay, and this, Mother Gaia, the earth and responsibility, and almost as, if you're a starseed or a light worker, your responsibility is actually to really start to, over time, obviously, to step into this realization that your heart is the portal, that you are the light, that we are all the light, that we can learn how to make every day awesome for our own highest good and for the highest good of others that we come in contact with. Okay, so these cards are really lovely together. Cosmic heart, earth connection, and responsibility. That kangaroo is also looking like strength to me. Okay, so and it does take a certain amount of strength to have the discipline to follow through with your responsibilities. Okay, not only do we have responsibilities for others and for practical things, but we have a spiritual responsibility to ourselves. Right, our soul, our higher self has a spiritual responsibility. Okay, that in the practical 3D way of living we may not be tuning into. So it's kind of saying that if you can be present, it will help you to tune into what your higher self responsibility is as well, which can actually be liberating. And it's often about this, it's often about, what is it that I need to do that really activates my whole soul, especially my heart chakra. Okay. That is awesome, and I really love how earth connection's in there. Right, let's look at the last stack. So this is the last. Oh wow, we have a bright red Archangel Michael. That is awesome. Trusting heaven. Okay, so this is about trusting those higher frequency energies, but also that your higher self is vibrating in that. Okay, it says, you are safe, angels stand close, surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. Folks, we have chills, because surrender your concerns is what is going to help you to make every day an awesome journey, because it's logical, isn't it? If you are overladen with stress and worry, you can't even get yourself into a mindset about my day is going to be awesome, because you are so overloaded with low frequency stress, fatigue, anxiety. Okay, so if you can start to trust into your higher self and trust that there is spiritual support, it's not that you're going to stop working or have no responsibilities. It's just saying lighten the load on your mind, lighten the load that you're putting on yourself mentally, emotionally. Okay, and just trust that support is there. Trust your higher self. Trust that if you can become present and still, you can become best friends with your higher self. Your higher self is your best friend. In actual fact, your higher self is you. You are your higher self. But because we are multi-dimensional beings, we are amazing in that we can function on a third dimensional realm, in a fourth dimensional realm, and in a fifth dimensional realm. Okay? Your higher self is vibrating more like this. Okay? That is a very high frequency. But as we become present, we learn how to communicate with that aspect of ourselves so that we can start to raise our frequency, and we can start to sort of think, you know what, I am actually a being of light, and you know what, I can actually turn this all around. It's all about my perspective. You know, it's all about how I view it, my choice of how I view it, and I can make my day awesome. I can make it an awesome journey for myself and for others, for my own highest good and for the highest good of others. And that is really freeing, and it's trust. And Archangel Michael is also associated with protection. So you can definitely call on him for assistance with this whole process about being present. And also Master Kuthumi. Okay. Gaia, I guess that looks like a female spiritual entity there, but it's definitely the Gaia energy is a feminine one. Okay. I'll just hold the next image up while I just grab a sip of my drink. Now that is awesome. For some reason, before doing this reading, I was thinking about the whales. Record keeper. Now, the whales are actually very high consciousness beings, okay? Plus they are really big, so they are amazing. And they obviously hold a lot of wisdom, okay, and a lot of understanding. And it's a whale, it's actually quite big. So Spirit is also kind of just saying to me that, we need to start viewing ourselves and our beings as being energetically way bigger. Okay? Because we are multi-dimensional. Our ability to shift between frequencies and our past lives and our ability to connect galactically with light beings, okay? We are, and we also have a lot of wisdom, and we have past lives, okay? So our scope is quite large, and it is full of wisdom and understanding. And if we can only just come in to be present within ourselves, to just start to feed that into our consciousness, and then even perhaps just start to dialogue with our higher self, okay, that it'll be a lot easier for us to kind of go, you know what, my day is going to be awesome. Yeah, and my soul is an awesome thing. That's another view that we can have, okay. Plus it's a higher consciousness, okay. We have that ability to raise our consciousness. It's really looking into that. Yeah. Then this says lost lands. Wow, this is like your higher self. If you don't feel connected to your higher self, okay, it can feel like it's lost territory, or it's something from a long time ago, or something that you've lost that you need to get back, okay. Underneath it says soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. So the soul remembers things, and this is actually reiterating this too. This is also referring to past lives, so it's about soul memories of past lives, okay, and experiences you've had through other incarnations, and also your gifts, which is fantastic. Like if you start to become present and you start to really tap into, your cosmic heart. This one here. It won't happen overnight where you go, okay, I know what my gifts are, I know why I'm here, and yada yada. Okay, it's a gradual process over time. But if you can start doing it, like in a few months to a year or something, you might be able to have a lot stronger idea, a lot more idea about the things that you've lost that you want to get back to. Okay, because often, particularly star seeds, okay, when we come down here, we have amnesia, but the ancient knowledge that was utilised a long time ago, we have that in our DNA, and because we're going through a certain phase in Earth's evolution at the moment, all of that type of knowledge is being required again. Okay, all of that type of knowledge is being required because it's more evolved, which doesn't really make sense. It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? Like, something was in the past and, it got to a certain point and then basically it went and other stuff happened, then that it must be that, the stuff that happened later is more evolved than the stuff that happened before, because the stuff that happened before is now antiquated or obsolete, okay? That's not the case with cycles of, the cycle of human evolution, because what's happened is that the ancient knowledge where things were, we're not talking about wars and things like that. We're talking more about the connection that beings had with their natural environment, okay? Because that, in terms of the beings and the planet where they live, okay? So basically, that's what slowly disintegrated. So that strong connection of love, harmony, and respect disintegrated, okay? And now what's happening is that because the Earth is at a point where it needs love, care, and attention, okay, that it did have before, that now all of this ancient knowledge is needing to come back in. So basically, humans are now going through a process of reshifting the focus back to love and connection of the Earth, and this is bang on right here. Okay, so the soul memories are all about how to live in harmony with nature, but also about how to do that in an honourable way that honours the intelligence and the multidimensionality of the human being. Okay, because we're not simpletons. Okay, we actually have way more abilities and gifts than we realise, and that's what, when the Earth started to become like destroyed and broken down, people lost connection with those gifts and abilities within themselves, because the planet was being destroyed and ignored and people weren't connecting with it. Okay, so the Earth connection and our evolution are very important, and they are intertwined and integrated, okay? But and this is a water creature, okay? So that also is alluding to subconscious. So we have subconscious memories, okay, that are held in our subconscious, but our soul, our higher self, is completely aware of all of it. Okay, so so we really need to be connecting to this. But this is really awesome about stuff that we've lost. That's what was my train of thought was, is that just because it's lost and it was happened in the past does not mean that it's irrelevant. Okay. You might have had some thoughts recently about, I really feel like, there's parts of things going on in the world that are just kind of going downhill, and I really think we need to do A and B. Or people should do C and D more, or something like that, right? That might be something that you're passionate about or that you're concerned about. So if you can start doing them for yourself, okay, you might find that you start to tap into, hey, my soul, I just feel really connected, like on a deep level, to this thing that I'm doing now. And you might then find that, your cosmic heart, you start to get these memories happening. And, and then, especially if you can be present with your higher self, you can get some spiritual support as well, and protection. Wow, that was a lot of stuff. So yeah, ideally, we're reducing stress, fatigue, anxiety, and we are raising our frequency. So I hope that was helpful. Another little idea that I had before this was to, you could make, you could give each day of your week a colour, okay? And you could, as there are 7 days of the week, there are 7 major chakras, 7 colours of the rainbow. You could go, well, Monday's going to be my orange day, Sunday's going to be my indigo day, or something like that. And you could kind of just perhaps do a chakra meditation of that chakra on that day, or you could wear the colours of that chakra that activate that chakra on that day. And that's a little way that you could actually use colour and the music to make your day awesome as well. Let's just pop that in here, because you can use colour, okay, and you can also use music and meditation. You can even use aroma, like aromatherapy. There are lots of beautiful ways that you can use prayer, right, to make your day awesome. But it might even be that you just choose like a mindset that you're going to have for that day, like maybe an intention. You might like to use pictures or visuals. For instance, if you have a deck of cards, okay, an oracle deck, you might like to go, well, say for example, I might just have a little plastic slip where I'm just going to go, okay, the night before I'm actually just going to pop this next to my bed and just meditate on that. And they're going to go, well, the next day I'm going to, maybe it's a Sunday, I'm actually really just going to earth connect tomorrow. That's going to be my earth connection day. And when we connect to the earth, that's often the root chakra, because we're really grounding, okay? So Sunday might be your root chakra day, where you get really grounded, okay? But you can have, you can attribute any chakra to any day, right? Just a little tip. I mean, it may or may not work for you, but yeah, because you can, that way you're kind of addressing all of the chakras. And yeah, just to be aware that, I mean, that might not work. It might be better to just do, a little half an hour meditation, and then perhaps work on the other chakras throughout the day, okay? Obviously, you don't want to be doing a full day of brow chakra meditation, because you might be out of it by the end of the day, and the next day you might feel, not very grounded. So you've kind of got to balance them out, because obviously energetically we have the crown here, third eye or brow, you have the throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, the sacral, which is below the belly button. The solar plexus is just below your rib cage, underneath the sternum, and the base chakra is right at the base of your spine, okay? So hopefully that has been of assistance. So it's about being present and making every day an awesome journey with, for, and into yourself, your life, and your connections with others. I hope that's been helpful, and I will see you next time. Ciao.